Bum,
There we
bum.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
Apologize to the folks on YouTube. A little
we're
bit
there.
of couple. Yeah, it is now. We had a couple issues,
We had a live
Wasn't
streaming
going.
issue on YouTube.
but it's working now, so we're good there. Let's do this.
Wade and Carter weather brought to you by insert the name of your company here for a nominal fee. 81 degrees in Victoria, Texas, not Victoria, British Columbia,
Not Victoria, Australia. Not Victoria Falls, Africa.
Victoria, Texas, which is the most important Victoria since the Queen herself. Heading to a high of 96 under piercingly sunny skies. Yes.
Things are slow this morning.
Dead
I'm ready,
air,
and
dead air is cheap.
You can keep it going. Don't have to wait on me.
Oh,
We
I
almost
dance with somebody.
Yeah, no. First rule of the radio.
I want to feel the heat with somebody.
Okay, Leister, first one in this morning. Good morning to you, sir.
You ever wonder why
Mallory.
nobody ever covers Whitney Houston songs? Because she could sing.
She could sing them, and I hate to say it, a lot of them didn't stand the test of time.
No.
Very dated and periodical.
Really no great music, Ash. You and I agree on this. Really no. I think as far as you can come up in rock and roll.
I don't think we're gonna agree on this.
The last great record album was probably Hotel California, about 1975. Maybe right in there was some Elton John stuff, but that was more pop.
Queen the Game, 1980 was pretty good.
Queen, the longer he's gone, the more I listen in awe to Freddie Mercury.
Bat Out of Hell, Meatloaf, 1979, I think. That was a heck of an album.
I don't know. That's Meatloaf. I mean, what do his friends call him? Meat? Mr. Loaf? What do the little kids call him? Hey, Mr. Loaf. He passed, did he pass?
Well, not that big a fan anymore.
Heaven, what is it? Heaven by the Dashboard Lights?
Paradise by the Dashboard Lights.
Okay.
Heaven Can Wait.
Right. Yeah.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
That's pretty
That's some songs.
That's a pretty good song.
And they've stood there's the difference. Those songs have held up. They've lasted 40 years.
I went through the deal with my older 3 where they were like listening to Britney Spears, and I was like, this stuff, you will never have. It's classic pop. If nobody's going to listen to that garbage in 5 years. They don't listen to it in 5 weeks now.
Yeah.
Stars come and go quicker than
the Neowise Comet.
Oh, very well played. We got a new comment, folks.
66 YouTuber subscribers. We're like a yo-yo, according to Bobby Leister. Yeah. You know what's interesting? I looked to see who they all are.
It's like, does
I don't know, but
up data to subscribe?
2/3 of our subscribers are anonymous. They don't have their information on there.
People from other media outlets.
Yeah. Marvin McCoosh, David Glass, Jody Pickett, good morning. Lisa Poole, Missy Klemachek, Christina Wise.
No, that's Dr. Missy Madden Klemachek.
H.R. Mallory says he predicts a surge of subscribers if they can just push above 70.
See, I agree. The second wave, it's like once it'll snowball.
Karen Webb checking in.
Paul Ebner, Adam photographer of Wade and Carter.
Trey Molina, Patrick Strauss.
Funky Trey Molina. What are you reading?
Diana Quinn, Randy Langston, good morning. Clayton Meyer, Larry Leahy.
Why did it say that? It said wow, something about calling the show? Or
Jody Pickett says Synchronicity was good. Police.
Yeah. I mean, it was.
See, and I
okay, but there are flurries. It's not like you say to me, and I agree with you folks, but it's and
AC/DC Back in Black still stands up and holds test of time.
These things. I make these blanket statements to spur conversation. But I'll take you back, and I've told my son Kyle, who's just call him 21 for lack of 60 days, and Kyle is like, Dad, I mean, I get it. Styx, Kansas, Van Halen, Boston, Kiss.
Couldn't get into Kansas. Never could.
But Dustin
I even know a guy from the band Kansas, and I still can't get into him. Huh?
Dust in the Wind,
Yeah, one song doesn't make a band.
No, well, it depends.
Tiny Tim.
Bro, I was going to say, unless you're the right one-hit wonder, MC Hammer. But you go back to when I was in high school, and we were getting, man, back when I was in high school.
Cars rusted when you were in high school.
The 8-track,
you drove them off the
right
lot.
in the middle of More Than a Feeling, More Than a Feeling.
Went from track 3 to track 4, right?
Song, man. Yeah, you go back to Boston, but you got Boston, Van Halen. You know, it just goes on and on. Queen, the Eagles. It goes on and on and on of just legendary.
Le Aigle, as we call them in Quebec.
Le Aigle. Le Aigle. It goes on and on and on. And now, there's
this is the song that never ends.
So who was it though? I mean, who's left? What we went through the Depeche Mode Devo stage in the '80s.
Devo fizzled. Depeche Mode still playing sold out shows everywhere.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Still put out a lot of music. New Order in that same group.
Yeah,
there were some bands in the '80s that had some staying power. In Excess, I still like to listen to. The Cult.
Yeah, my
Guns N' Roses trying to hang around. I'm not sure that they put out anything relevant since I don't even know if the Spaghetti Incident was relevant, but
GNR though, pretty good.
But I don't know that rock as a genre
You have so many different
is going to survive.
You're like, it's like when we talk Spanglish, chorizo con papa and cheese. I mean, we do Spanglish pretty well. And you just throw in, because of your extensive travels through your foreign service, you throw in accoutrement, l'aigle.
Had to learn at least 3 other languages.
Right, just to get out of Russian middle school.
Just to get out of Soviet Union.
Right. Clint Ives, good morning, Commissioner.
They didn't even teach us Russian. They just figured you'd know it.
Lisa Poole says, and it's fitting that Lisa Poole, who was a hard rocker in high school, would bring out AC/DC Back in Black.
Larry Leahy, good morning.
She could be found out at Sun Valley while the cover bands were playing, just banging her head against the steel girder, going, Lone Star Beer, Lone Star Beer.
Johnny Hodden, good morning. Trey Molina asks if you got the Bieber fever.
See, that's a great point. Like Justin Bieber, I mean, the guy, I guess YouTube basically made Bieber, right? And, but YouTube giveth and YouTube taketh away. I mean, he's done, all he did, he never got over.
MySpace might have launched Bieber.
Right. Well, exactly. But he had some skills, but he couldn't handle fame at all. I think if you asked that guy, he'd say, man, I probably wouldn't do it the same way again. He made $1 gazillion. I wonder
how much he still has.
I think he's very wealthy.
Yeah. Mike Bloschke says Ozzy Iron Man.
Oh,
Adam Daughtry says Ozzy Iron Man. Mike Bloschke, good morning to you.
Yeah, that's a big difference because that's a dark side. And I think Mike
HR Mallory says, are you kidding, Brent? We got Michaela jamming out to Britney, Spice Girls, NSYNC, the Backstreet Boys, 80s power ballads.
That's your music, HR. Ash and I I'm openly condemning your era of music. It's just hard to picture you. I think about Metallica and some of that, but it's hard to picture HR, who is one of our best friends and is a military veteran. It's hard to see you sweeping the streets of, out on patrol in a foreign land, just listening to Justin Bieber on your headset. It just doesn't work for me.
Lisa Poole says Dire Straits, Brothers in Arms.
That's a great album.
Great album.
Mark Knopfler.
There's a band that probably gets more accolades and recognition simply because of that album. You could argue that most of their other albums were crap.
But they were great musicians,
And I saw them live, and they put on a pretty good show back in the day, but that was their penultimate album.
So would it surprise you? Like, what if
Zach Smith, Sheriff Louderback,
Louderback's in? What if you said like
Iceman, Amy Mundy, Chris
say, hey,
Conrad?
Sheriff, what's your favorite album? What if he told you it was something by Blondie or something like that? That would surprise. Wouldn't you think it'd be Merle Haggard? Can't you see the sheriff driving along in the morning? Silver wings. You know, he's doing a little Merle Haggard.
I'm thinking maybe a little Waylon.
Yeah.
Not sure he goes Willie.
Ain't living long like this.
Jody Pickett, Foreigner.
Foreigner was great. Saw him in Austin back in like 83.
Iceman, says Kenny Loggins.
Yeah, see, that just doesn't work for me.
BJ Nelson, Lisa Poole, Bad Company.
Iceman singing Footloose.
Joe Mitchell checking in with us. Adam Daughtry, Five Finger Death Punch, remade Bad Company.
Yeah.
That's a band I like. Volbeat's another one I like. Current bands.
I mean, what a great name for a band. Five Finger Death Punch. All their songs were covered by gut-wrenching diarrhea. I mean, why not just, instead of Culture Club, it's going to be COVID Club.
Joe Mitchell, 74 in round one. You're in contention, sir. I'm thinking. Joe. I didn't see the leaderboard. Home court pressure got to him. He says mental mistakes. I'm thinking it's the home court pressure.
Well, when you hit as many golf balls as Joe Mitchell or any of those pros out there, you hope it's mental mistakes.
Larry Leahy has a question for us. On Paradise by the Dashboard Lights, who was the baseball announcer?
It's Vin Scully, isn't it?
No, I don't think it was Vin.
It came to mind as Vin Scully.
Jack Buck.
I don't know. He knows.
I know he knows. I don't think it was Harry Carey because he sounded too sober.
Yeah. I know what. That's it.
Wasn't Kurt Gowdy.
Who was it, Larry? Don't leave us hanging. Fear the Reaper.
Come on, let's see. Where is it? Chris Jansen checking in. Did I miss it?
It's our favorite cattle rancher.
Rena Scherer, good morning.
Oh, no. BJ Nelson comes in with
Debbie Gibson. HR says Nickelback.
Nickelback's good.
I got no problem with Nickelback.
See, I like Maroon 5, but that's pop music to me.
Doug Ellisor. Jody Pickett says Journey.
Journey was awesome. Neil Sean is his final guitar player. I mean, him, Eddie Van Halen, in fact, Sean's probably better.
Larry Leahy, like the Kinks. Original Headbangers.
Yep. So Neil Sean started out when he was 15
Oasis is just the Kinks 2.0 with all the problems they've had.
Oasis is a bar in Austin.
Steve Tyler, good morning to you. Phil Rizzuto, the Scooter, was the announcer. Thank you, Larry. Did not know that.
Old hockey guy. Yeah. If your last name's Rizzuto, you know you've laced him up. Neil Sean, 15 years old, got taken out on tour with Carlos Santana. That's how he got his start.
Adam Sugar, good morning. Patrick Stowe says Bruce Springsteen. I'd say the Boss up until about, trying to think, 91, 92, 93, 94, somewhere in there. Put out good music. After that, it was just kind of.
Yeah, well, he got real political and he got real philosophical and introspective. He started looking at his life. Have you seen that show?
Julianne Phillips, Dum Dum, that was part of it too, right?
Yeah.
You know what? We
Did you see the one-man show?
We didn't get a chance to see. I think we looked to get tickets, like $1,000, $1,500 was the cheapest ticket when we were in New York. We did see him though. He's short.
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize how short he was. I mean, we saw him come out of the stage door, and then he was lost in the crowd.
Yeah.
Like seriously, because like everybody was taller than him. I bet you he's 5'6".
Yeah. Justice Watoshi says Sting.
No, I was a bigger Police fan than I was a Sting fan.
Legit point. Were you a bigger Chicago fan than a Peter Cetera fan?
Not a Chicago fan, not a Peter Cetera fan.
Chicago was great. What if I say Chicago? What's the first thing that comes to mind about their style or about
jazzy infusion rock, horns, and didn't like it. Just didn't like it.
It was good. Doug Ellsworth says, "What? No Manilow? Hey, Barry Manilow had some hits.
Barry Manilow wrote a lot of hits too.
Yeah. His name was Rico.
Hey,
He wore a diamond.
Didn't he write the songs? The whole world
He
sing?
actually did not write that song.
No.
Yeah.
Who was the other guy that wrote?
He didn't write Mandy either.
No.
But Mandy's such a great song.
Bruce Baccarat wrote a lot of those songs
Or
for Barry,
Bert,
right?
his
Or
brother
Bert. Yeah,
Bert.
that's what I meant.
Bruce Bochy wrote Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. Yeah, he wrote, so there's an album out there by Carole King called, I don't know. Carole King had one album, somebody here will know, but on that one album, there were like 6 or 7, Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow, and then that one, and then that's how much of an expert I am on Carole King.
Tapestry.
Tapestry is the album. Thank you, Larry Leahy, coming in, showing his feminine side with pride. Name some of the songs on that.
BJ Nelson says we refer to him as barely man enough in our house.
Yeah, it's a true story. He's a huge flamer, but he sang a song about Mandy that was touching.
Oh man!
And he's still doing it. He might be right there with Phyllis Diller in terms of.
Marvin Mickish comes in with probably one of the best live shows I've ever seen. Steve Miller Band.
Yeah, because Steve Miller is kind of he's no big aficionado. He's just a rocker.
Plays decent guitar.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not like.
Writes good music, though. That's the thing. I mean, he wrote good songs that have stood the test of time.
Right.
Except for maybe Abracadabra, which is kind of catchy, but it was that
very
early
poppy.
80, 81 when music was coming out of the disco age, trying to figure its way around.
Reach out and grab you. Yeah, that was a little weird.
It's kind of like Mr. Roboto by
But
Styx.
see, when you come in, this is where my trivia, all the stuff that I've picked up through the years, when you come in and bring me some Steve Miller Band, then I have to bring back to you that, do you know who his garage bandmate was in Plano, Texas, where he grew up? They split over philosophical differences, and he went on to become Boz Scaggs.
Should have stayed with the Steve Miller Band.
No, Boz Scaggs had a much bigger career than Steve
No,
Miller.
he didn't.
Oh,
no,
sure
he did not.
He did an album called Silk Degrees and sold more albums than every album Steve Miller's ever done combined.
No.
Challenge him.
Chris Conrad says, Ash, I haven't mentioned Rush, The Hip, or BTO. I was not a huge Bachman Turner Overdrive fan,
No,
so that's one.
What a great assemblage of players.
My cousin's a huge
That Overdrive guy can really play bass.
My cousin's a huge Rush fan. I just couldn't quite get into Rush. I don't know why.
I never liked him that much. I liked REO Speedwagon though. Those high vocals.
The Tragically Hip goes without saying, but they were not lost. They were lost on the U.S.
Group. They're a Canadian group, and one of their lead singer recently passed, I believe.
Yeah, 3 years ago, I think, from brain cancer. Gord Downey. Not
to be confused with Norman.
The Bare Naked Ladies, another great Canadian band that has some staying powers. Jeff Healey, Randy Langston comes in with Jeff Healey. I got a chance.
Jeff Healey's kind of boutique-ish.
A little bit. Roadhouse on the soundtrack, had some hits. Blind guitarist played sitting down, almost like a lap steel guitar or slide guitar,
like
right?
A dobro.
Kinda.
Good call. Good call.
But it wasn't. It was just how he learned to play the guitar.
It's exactly how he learned it. He was lazy and blind, people. Lazy and blind. He sat and played with it on his lap.
Yeah, there's a reason for that. But
right.
And then he recently passed away. Fairly young. Yeah. I mean, when I say recently, probably the last 2 years.
Boz Scaggs, Silk Degrees, 1976.
Yeah, enjoy it. But Jeff Healey, go put your 8-track in your dashboard of your 76 Camaro and Berlinetta. Enjoy it. Jeff Healey, I got a chance to see him in a small club in Calgary, and awesome. I mean, he played much bigger than any venue that he was ever
What
in.
about Rick James?
Never saw Rick. One hit
He's a
wonder, in my
different-
opinion. That's
yeah.
it. That was it, really. And then I think he did a little bit of stuff with Eddie Murphy when Eddie was trying to sing.
Eddie could sing a little bit.
Eddie could sing.
The
CCR, Bob Constantine comes in with CCR.
trivia about Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Their songs are starting to have a lot of relevance today.
Great
Aren't they?
staying power, but did you know never had a number one hit ever? CCR, not one number one hit ever. Why? They were in the marketplace when you had Elvis and the Beatles, and you never ever had a number one hit. Snoop Dogg is not so bad, really.
Eugene Nelson says she heard it from a friend.
Right, REO Speedway.
High Infidelity was the name of that album in what, 81? That probably had at least 5 top 10s, and 3 of those were probably number one.
No.
That was
You're out
awesome.
every weekend. They're talking about you, and it's bringing me down.
Jeremy Pena says Snoop Dogg. Yeah, you're lost already.
So where does
Guess who? Better than BTO? Larry Leahy
yeah,
says, yeah, probably.
the Guess Who?
The Who, better than any of them.
Wasn't the Guess Who sang
That was Burton Cummings.
who sang American Band? Oh, or who sang American Woman?
That was
Is that the Guess Who?
Was it the Guess Who or was that BTO?
No,
That was the Guess Who.
American Woman, and so they're Canadian. The
Yeah.
Guess Who.
Or at least part of them are. And Burton Cummings was in that band, I think, wasn't he?
So you say Peter Gabriel, and I have to say Genesis first. I mean, they thought Genesis was going to die when Pete decided to go
Solo.
solo, but then
Then they found out they had a
Phil
drummer that could play.
Collins,
Yeah, that could sing.
maybe the second best singing drummer, only behind Don Henley, the great Don Henley.
Peter Criss did a pretty good job on Beth.
Dude, that's Kiss. That's like a takeoff of a band.
Matt Boucher comes in with Triumph.
What's that
Great
band that
Canadian
comes in
band
here,
there.
The band that comes in here and plays that Brother Gary likes. That
The Emotions?
No. They're a franchise. They're a takeoff band.
Oh,
Those guys.
I can't remember. We'll ask him when he gets here.
Who are those folks, y'all, that come in and they're like a franchise. One comes out of San Antonio, one comes out of Austin. They
Yeah.
cover all the songs. They have all the crazy outfits. They played at the community center a couple of years ago.
Yeah, what is it? The
Yeah,
I know.
cool.
Yeah.
Spasmatics, thank you.
Callie Fromme comes in. Yeah,
So what that is, though, Spasmatics. Boy, everybody got that, but Adam Shear says George Strait. I
Chris
agree.
Conrad gets it.
George Strait. Spasmatics, though, to me, are kind of like Kiss.
Yeah, but they were just a cover band. They're franchise. They got bands all over.
They
Chris Conrad
talented
says
people.
Yeah, no, they are. Chris Conrad says the Guess Who and BTO are from Winnipeg. Weren't they basically the same band minus a couple players? Neil Young was from there too.
Neil Young from Canada.
Manitoba. Yep.
Wow.
So
Look at T-Lat bringing in the Spasmatics. Folks, I part of me wants to apologize, but you guys are engaged in this deal too. The King, no doubt. Elvis was the greatest.
70s Elvis. I mean, as much as I'm an Elvis fan, 70s Elvis just it's hard to.
But let me tell
Although
you,
he does have one song from the late 70s that was released, I think, posthumously.
a little less talk, a little more action.
No, that was one. That Yoga Is As Yoga Does. One of the cheesiest songs ever.
Yeah.
But I think it was on I know it was on I Got Lucky, his I Got Lucky album for sure. Might have been on
Now
another one.
Myers says, "Good morning from Coshada." Is that what it says?
That's what it says.
We've kind of breezed through 25 minutes just talking about rock and roll trivia, and you guys are very good at this.
Reminiscing down musical lane.
So where does Prince fit into this mix? Great guitar player, little bitty guy.
You know, I liked him in the 80s, and then that was kind of it for me with Prince. I
Right.
don't know. Didn't transcend because then I got into grunge and
See, I never got into that stuff that I couldn't understand, or if I felt like my head had to go drum, drum, drum. I couldn't do it. I like melodies. I like Glenn Campbell. Okay, I don't need Rhinestone Cowboy more than once a month, but I like Glenn Campbell. And
you know
his
who's been missing from this conversation? They're a band I've seen 3 times, and I think still put on one of the best shows I've ever seen, the Beach Boys.
Well, There's no doubt. Brian Wilson's just a musical genius.
Pet Sounds.
They tell stories about, I've read stories about the Beatles and the Beach Boys having like an unspoken rivalry, that they really, really watched each other's music a lot. And
the Beatles absolutely were in awe of Brian Wilson's musical writing talents and abilities.
I had no idea, there's things that we like to listen to. And speaking of standing the test of time, there's
Nick Stewart checking in.
Good morning. There's things that if the Beatles music was reintroduced today, it would be a hit again today.
Some of it, I don't know that it would. The Beach Boys definitely a sound that probably, although it's fun to listen to, I don't know that you could come back and it would be a hit.
It's weekend beach party music. But the Beatles, the reason it sounded.
Doug Ellisor says he's yet to hear Queen. They were right off the top when I mentioned Queen the Game. Come on, keep up, Doug.
Come on, Doug. Come on, cop. But if you go back and listen to the Beatles, which I'm not a huge Beatles fan. The White Album, I can't tell you one song on the White Album. I'm sorry. But I've read that mathematically, the way the music's put together, that it's at a different level than most anything you ever listened to, and that was their fascination with Brian Wilson. Was that Brian Wilson was operated at that mathematical level where, I see what he did there. I mean, they would say that John Lennon would literally say, "Did you hear the flat there?"
You know who was a genius that way with his horn arrangements? He was doing things nobody else ever did and still doesn't do. Otis Redding.
Yeah.
Only had the number one hit, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, after he had died. But boy, he wrote a lot of songs that a lot of artists covered and took to greater heights than he did. But talk about a guy that unappreciated as a 60s soul artist, in my opinion.
Just sitting on the dock of the bay.
And absolutely, his arrangements, I love Otis Redding. I really do.
Really good.
He was one of my favorites of all time.
He was mentioned earlier, but if you ever have a chance to drag Adam Sugar, the Beatles suck. Okay. That's the guy that suggested George Strait should be in our rock and roll pantheon. If you get a chance or have a minute, go to YouTube and look up a Stevie Ray Vaughan performance at Austin City Limits, a very quaint, small venue, local for him. And
it wasn't even a venue back then.
Right.
It was the sound studio for PBS.
Exactly. But if you go and look at it, there's a lot of close-up camera work of his guitar work. It's even if you don't like his music, it is unbelievable the things that guy could do with his hands. I mean, really, really make a guitar talk.
Yeah.
Hard to watch that at night. And I was never I was a fan. Saw Stevie several times when I was in Austin and thought that guy's pretty cool. And he was current then, and he wasn't a mega star.
Yeah, no, I never got a chance to see him. I thought, I'll see him next year. I was a poor college kid, right? Couldn't afford to go to a lot of concerts, and I said, I'll see him next year. And the next thing I know, was the helicopter crash.
Yeah, we couldn't afford to go anywhere either. We'd see him in Antones down off the drag. He was still playing clubs, if you will.
Rolling Stones haven't been mentioned, which I think is a travesty.
Does that lead you to Aerosmith, kind of the poor man's Rolling Stones?
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Staying power.
I listen to them. They got some staying power. I wasn't a huge Aerosmith fan. The Beastie Boys, love the Beasties.
No comparison to Aerosmith.
No, if you're going to compare, you got to go Run DMC, I guess, there for Walk This Way. That kind of brought mainstream hip hop to the mainstream.
That's one way to look at it. Run DMC covered Aerosmith, but Aerosmith didn't cover Run DMC.
Well, they did the song together. Reinvented that song. That song, as it was, probably didn't have the staying power that it had when Run DMC reinvented it with them.
Sure, they brought a whole new audience to Aerosmith, and that's where Aerosmith has been smart. They've marketed themselves quite well.
Fleetwood Mac, Patrick Strauss comes in. Good call there. Another
Fleetwood
one.
Mac's good.
Eric Clapton.
Well,
Got a chance to see him live and close enough to the stage to understand why they call him Slow Hand.
oh man, he was
That was awesome.
phenomenal and a very troubled man. Eric Clapton fell in love with George Harrison's wife. Wrote the song Layla about that failed love triangle.
Yeah, that was only a triangle in his mind.
And then she's a bad girl. She was a bad girl. Then Nick Stewart says no Aerosmith. Then Clapton fell into a drug-induced depression that lasted several years, was rescued by some musician friends and forgiven by George Harrison, and came back and wrote some more great music.
And his son fell like 30 stories from their window in Manhattan.
Yeah, and died, of course.
Michael Jolly says Foghat, and I think he's joking.
Slow ride, ba-da, da-da.
There's a one-hit wonder. The Clash. I like The Clash. Just putting that out there. London Calling, still one of my favorite albums of all time. Johnny Hott and Def Leppard. Yeah, I
The one-armed drummer.
probably I would say before that stuff.
There used to be a series on MTV called Behind the Music, and I loved watching Behind the Music.
I'll take a break. You go start our video because it just shut off.
Did
Said Clapton, and that was it.
Did they cut us off?
They did. I don't know what's happened there.
Well, is
Crazy
it back
stuff.
on?
No, that's old.
Okay.
It ended. So, boy, we just blew through reminiscing our cassette 8-track early CD catalogs. Tell you what, if your 1978 AMC Pacer won't get off the schneid, give Allen's Record Service a call. 578-6300. You can plug in your favorite 8-track and sit there safely on the side of the road, and Allen will be there as quick as they can. 578-6300 is the number to call Allen's Record Service when and if you ever need them. VCS Rocket Oilfield Services, and the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer. Oh,
Childish
Lord.
tricks.
Very much so. But we're back.
They're all part of
That's
the
all that
Heartland
matters.
Communication Empire. Get by Kirk Boulevard today, just off Main Street, just inside the Loop. That's the VCS companies. Right now, folks, if you don't have a security system at your home, you're at the mercy of ne'er-do-wells. They drive around. They see that this home protected by VCS, and they just keep driving.
So apparently 2 words trigger Facebook.
CLAPTON.
And TERRORIST.
Yes, you cannot say those words because Facebook will cut you off.
SCT Building Systems. They won't cut you off. They'll listen to you, figure out what you want to build, and then they'll build it for you. It's that simple.
564-8864.
Number to call.
Clayton and Casey helped.
You'll probably talk to Casey.
Yeah, and she's the right one to talk to because she'll help you refine your idea, and then Clayton will build it. Look at all the good folks checking back in. I'm sorry, folks, for the
and some we didn't even see the first time. Stephen Kidder.
Hi, Steve.
Chesnick Furniture Company, 116 West Warren Lynn. Beautiful downtown Victoria. Beautiful array of furniture for any room in your home.
Celebrating 100 years in business in our small town. That's no small feat. Get down there. Motley Crue. Wow.
Let's finish the break because we kind of blew through 2 of them, and then I'll give you my 80s hairband thoughts and observances before we move on.
Speaking of hairbands, if you don't want hair in your food, go to Veracruz today. They wouldn't let Van Halen through the door with all that.
Probably not. Well, I don't think they have any anymore.
But they might let Freddie Fender in with that fro. Remember that 70s afro that Freddie had? And it brings you happiness. I love Freddie. Oh, get by the 576-6015. You can pick up food to go from Veracruz as well.
Razor IT Solutions, John Paul Hall. Give him a call for any of your IT questions. He has the solution.
No humor, no jokes about his ad because your data is very serious business to John Paul Hall.
And it should be to you as well.
That's right. He can help you with your analytics. He'll let you know who's trying to tap into your website. He's done work for some of our sponsors, and everybody ends up happy. reach out to JP today. He'll show you how to take money, whether it be donations or selling items on the internet, interface it directly with your QuickBooks, tie that into your Facebook presence.
To your bank, all seamless.
It's all, you don't even have to work anymore. Just let him do it all. That's how to work.
Tell you what, you don't have to do any work if you want to buy a new car from Atzenhofer or a used vehicle, atzenhofer.com. You can shop for the comfort of your living room.
Since
Your bedroom,
1926,
your
since
easy chair.
1926 at atzenhofer.com. Just because you didn't have a computer doesn't mean it wasn't there.
Exactly.
Long before Al Gore invented the internet, there was atzenhofer.com. And you can go today. You can sort cars any way you want, by make, by model, by
year,
price,
by price,
by mileage. I want to buy a used car, but I don't want anything with over 30,000 miles on it. They've got a way to do that. You can shop from the privacy of your home. You're not being tracked. It's not like TikTok. They're not monitoring you. So do it. Go by, check out atzenhofer.com today.
White Trash Services, folks, 550-1826. Give BJ Nelson a call. You'll talk to somebody there. That's probably the first thing you'll notice when you call them. You're going to talk to a live person who can answer your questions.
Right, as opposed to talking to a dead person.
Yep.
So you've got that. Hair bands, Cheap Trick, Poison. What about White Snake?
One hit wonders, really.
Pour some sugar on me.
That was Def Leppard.
Right. That's Donnie's go-to dance song.
Rat had 2 T's in it, Iceman.
Yeah.
Get it right. Okay, Alex checking in. I love Cheap Trick. What was it, about 78, 79? I got introduced to Cheap Trick.
What about The Knack from the album Get the
My
Knack?
Sharona was their only real hit. It's still a catchy song. But here's the thing. If you look at the 80s hair bands, and you look at, and I marvel at the fact that none of them have hair now.
Brought to you by Willow
Rogaine.
Rogaine now, right? You do Willow.
Yeah, you tell 2 friends, they'll tell 2 friends, and so on and so on.
Uh-oh.
But
BJ Nelson says that.
But one thing,
BJ says, what happened? That was minutes ago. This is live radio, BJ. You know you're already reconnected.
But one thing with the hair bands of the 80s, because their songs weren't getting played on top 40 radio in the 80s, which was still transitioning from AM to FM.
Yeah.
They weren't being, and most of the FM radio was classic rock.
Mm-hmm.
So they weren't getting played there. So what they all did, they all recorded a power ballad that sucked you into buying their cassettes or vinyl. And if you didn't like the heavy metal, because I think that's the funny thing, that was hard rock at the time. That was almost borderline heavy metal. It wasn't Iron Maiden, it wasn't Judas Priest, it wasn't Black Sabbath, but it was close.
Whatever happened to Ozzy Osbourne? He's still alive?
I think he's translating for Joe Biden.
Right. Right.
But interestingly enough, though, they all recorded a power ballad because that was the only way they could get airplay. And then they would go out and sell stadiums and arenas across the country off the back of that one power ballad.
Money for nothing. Chicks for free.
They learned how to do it and work the system. And also millions and millions of copies without ever getting airplay.
Iceman said, never said I was an English major. A rat has 2 T's and the Iceman gets offended.
Exactly.
People are so soft. You know, I'll tell you one yesterday on Twitter, this Longhorn baseball fan, good guy, solid guy. I see his stuff all the time on Facebook. And this guy puts on there, well, I resigned myself to the fact that there's not going to be any sports this fall. And it was tongue in cheek. It was that kind of a post, you know, y'all wake me up and let me know if there's going to be anything, if there's going to be any sports to watch. So I just sent back National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 800-273-8255. Number one, we promote the Lifeline here. Number two, I thought it was funny. You know, hey, you know, if it gets that bad, dial the Lifeline. And I didn't want to put an incorrect phone number up there. That would be bad. What if somebody really was upset? Wow, I'm glad I got somebody to call. You can't believe the literal fake outrage, the backlash of people with profanity, lambasting me. Suicide's not funny. You're a insert a word here, much of which was probably true. I'm not saying these folks were inaccurate about me. I'm just saying they don't know me. They clearly didn't get the world of Twitter is a very, very simple world filled with very, very simple people.
It's a nasty world.
Oh yeah, vindictive. A lot of keyboard warriors. It's a lot of great. There's Jay Dub.
Morning, J Dub.
Love him. Jennifer Yancey checking in from over around. I don't know. What should we say?
Houston-ish.
Sugarland-ish. Is it Sugarland?
The Houston metropolitan area.
JY, tell us where you're living. We don't need an address. We don't want people just to start showing up. But
ringing your doorbell and saying, "Hey."
Steve Kidder says the knack was short hair. That's right. What about Devo? Wasn't Devo plastic hair?
Yeah, more or less.
Didn't Devo lead directly to the Blue Men?
I think they might be the Blue Men.
Right? They can't sing anymore. They just
play plastic instruments.
Do you remember the show on MTV, Behind the Music? And it was always like, in 1973, the band scored their first #1 hit. By 75, they had sold over 30 million albums, and then success got to them.
I thought that was VH1. That's kind of how it was.
VH1, that's right. In 1978, lead singer blah blah suffered a heart attack while ODing on heroin and cocaine and women. As the band went
not necessarily in that order.
Right. The band went broke. They all went to rehab, and now they're on a senior and on a revival
reunion
tour. I mean, it was the same. It just goes to show you that deep in our hearts, as much as we want to be successful, money isn't what makes us successful. And at the end of the day, these people that are striving at that level, they all ended up miserable. Every one of them ended up miserable.
Yeah. No, there's a lot to be said. There's a lot of misery in music. It really is.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Well, I've watched several
deaths, drinking deaths,
people coming in and out of the band. I mean, look at a band that was
friendships gained, friendships lost, managers pilfering money. I mean, the
Colonel Parker.
I mean, the recipe for Behind the Music reran about the same three themes.
Yeah. Their manager took all the money and left.
Yeah.
You know who we didn't mention that I like?
Who's that?
The Bee Gees. Brothers Gibb could bring it.
Yeah, they could. Andy had the most potential probably as a solo artist.
Andy was dating Victoria Principal back when she was still Victoria Principal.
And he was 16.
Right. Wilbur.
Pedophile.
Old motorboat Andy Gibb.
Steve Kidder said Devo wore helmets. Those weren't helmets. Those were planters.
Yeah, they were little pots, weren't they? That's right.
They took them out of their mom's macrame plant hangers in the 70s, put them on their head, played synthesizers and jacked up electric guitars, and started playing music in their garage.
Adam Schubert, I believe you're not joking. So what did the Bee Gees sing? They had
How deep is your love?
They did all of the soundtrack for Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah.
They did. They had some older hits that were good.
I mean, they were disco.
Heart. Well, they were disco era, yeah.
But they had hits in the 70s, earlier 70s, and then kind of came into their own in the disco era because
Robert Stigwood literally went to one of the Gibbs. I forgot the one with all the hair.
No, that wasn't Robin. That was Barry.
Barry Gibb, and said, "Could you write some songs? We're going to do this movie about this type of music." They never. Disco hadn't been defined, but it was upbeat, dance beat music. And the Bee Gees wrote all those songs for the movie. The songs are about the movie. And very interesting that it became an unbelievable, huge, huge, huge album. Adam Daugherty brings up the Swedish supergroup ABBA. That's enough said.
Yeah, might be enough to move on.
Dancing Queen. Young and lean, only 17.
She was a dancing queen.
She was the dancing queen.
Oh,
Steve Kidder says end of career. Oh, goodness.
This might be the end of the Wade and Carter show.
Well, I was going to tell you.
How do we move? Where do we go from here?
Well, you talk about young Elvis.
We go down into drugs, alcohol.
Elvis. You talk about 70s Elvis. I look back now at what I used to just think of as grossly obese, fat Elvis. He don't look that bad. You know, I look at him now, I'm like, give me the jumpsuit, baby. I'm in. He was only 42 years old when he died. It seems like a lot of those bright candles burn out quick.
Yeah, they did.
But funny that if Elvis had
But then I get depressed thinking about what he would be like now had he continued that carnival circus sideshow.
Yeah, well, it was all
esque.
It was like wrestling. I mean,
What he had become.
It was his favorite stuff. That peanut butter and banana sandwiches, baby, fried. If Elvis would have been born 10 years later, he would have gone to rehab. He would have put out a workout video. He would have been fit. He would have written a book. And he would have been fine. Elvis was too proud. He was in an era where you didn't admit you had problems. People didn't seek help.
I don't think Betty Ford existed yet, did it?
No, Elvis used to party with Betty Ford. That's the deal. That back before Betty decided to get right, Betty was, they once said Mickey Mantle struggled with alcohol for 50 years. No, he didn't. For the first 45, he was having a blast. It was the last 5 that he struggled when that liver quit.
Yeah.
Yep. Brother Gary's just joining the show from out there in the green room. And he's just mumbling other best ball player, great ball player. Fine young man, I taught him. Taught him and Elvis in junior high. Brother G was over in Memphis doing a little road history.
He taught summers in Memphis and summers
Sure.
in Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma. He just made the circuit. Just go through Little Rock, get over to Memphis, then went over to White Settlement, found out it wasn't, came back over to Oklahoma, taught Mickey Mantle for a while.
Came back down,
settled back down here.
Patty Welder for the rest of his career.
P-Dub. He's out there right now. Pray here, Lord, please. We should get the brother man in here and save the show.
No, y'all doing great. I love the reminiscing.
No, so
That's all
Patrick
we've
Strauss says he died. Elvis died August of 1977.
77?
Yeah, 1977. The age of 42.
Sad. Still remember where I was when I heard that.
Yeah.
It was my John Kennedy moment because I wasn't old enough. I wasn't born yet.
Bob Wally says Fat Elvis is alive in Vegas. Yeah. Bob Wally also says, good morning, Brother Gary. We haven't even brought Brother Gary in
No,
yet.
yeah,
He's
he's
already
already
dragging the
getting good
show up to better level.
Speaking of up, have you seen the Neowise comet? It's apparently visible for the next, almost the rest of this month. I believe today would have been like the start of this. Today's like the start of when you're going to be able to really see it.
Right.
I looked this morning, didn't see it. Supposed to see it about an hour to an hour and a half before sunrise to the northeast. I didn't see it. I did see a bright sky. I couldn't see it, but Ben Price took a picture of it yesterday. For those of you that know Ben, who grew up here and lived here and now lives in Colorado, took an absolutely phenomenal picture of it, posted on Facebook. And I mean, it's got the tail and everything.
What's weird is they just discovered this comet in like April,
March.
Okay.
Close. But here's why. And it's named the Neowise. I think that's either the satellite or the telescope or the observatory where they discovered it. But here's why. They figure it took 4,500 years to get here.
Yeah.
And then when it goes around the sun and slingshots around, it's going to change its trajectory so much, it's going to take another 6,800 years to get back to us.
So you think we'll never see it again, huh?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Odds aren't good.
I mean, 6,800 years, it could burn out. Isn't a comet essentially a star that's kind of burning out?
Well, that's what they're saying. It probably will burn out if it ever comes back. But the fact that it survived 4,500 years to get here tells me.
What is
You're
Halley's
saying there's a
comet?
chance.
Wasn't that like it was
75 years or
75
something,
years?
yeah.
Halley's comet. Used to be Haley's comet, but that was probably because of Bill Haley and the comets,
Maybe
right?
so, yeah.
But it was actually Halley's comet. Yeah.
So you might have a chance to see it. Kind of cool.
Is it fair to say, Brother G, that what Hank Williams was to country music, that Bill Haley kind of was to rock and roll? Didn't Bill Haley kind of set the table?
Yes, you could say that. Because
You got to wait for the microphone, brother. You've been doing this long enough.
Yeah,
You can't start the conversation out there.
He's streaming consciousness. It's not
I'm trying to
really
let you know I'm following you.
right.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, no. But you and I have talked music for decades, and
Yes, we
you
have.
are a huge aficionado.
Remember the days, Brent? Ash, you weren't here.
You weren't here, Ash.
Ash, with 78, did we have the best bands playing all
Oh.
the Drifters, Texas Armadillo Band, right?
Wheat Straw.
Wheat Straw.
Taylor Brothers.
Chase.
Meat
They
straw?
all, no, not Meat Straw.
The Border, Joel Nava.
Wheat Straw.
Oh, okay.
That's a bad visual. They
We heard it all, 70s, 80s, 90s.
I don't think that I'm just like fondly remembering. The Drifters were solid.
They were solid.
The Drifters could cover
Brewcop.
stuff.
Gary-
Yeah. Oh
Gary
yeah.
Brewcop.
They could cover stuff. You
We
know,
booked him every week.
Dawn works with Les Richter.
Oh, Les.
Les could play.
Night
Yeah.
Rider.
Oh, those guys were good.
Ash, these were top of the line band, and they played everywhere, all around this area.
I remember Night Ranger. I don't remember Night Rider.
Night Rider here, but Night Ranger was around.
Gary,
Every one of those bands I knew. I loved it. Thank
do
you
me
for
a
taking me back
favor.
in time.
Prism?
Yeah,
could
I
you,
remember.
could you pray for hockey, Gary?
I'm gonna pray for
Could you look at Ash's hair?
Yeah. How come he could get away with it going 50,000 different ways? We couldn't.
No, I can't do that.
I couldn't do it. He'd go.
Because it goes 50,000 different ways when it's shorter, too.
Can you see that when Brother Gary gets up in the morning, it's like going everywhere, and he goes like this. He shakes it, and it goes, poof. It goes right back,
Little towel
right
drive.
back to where it needs to be.
I could never have hair
Isn't
like
that
that.
something?
Man, but it's
And-
good. I love
And
the
thank you, Lord, that we don't. I mean,
that's
you know,
right.
Thank you.
That's right. Well, he can get away with it like it's-
What are
He's
we?
young. He's a kid.
He's a kid.
He's just a kid.
You're a kid to me.
No.
But anyway, that was great stuff. I really enjoyed y'all reminiscing. I
Jody Pickett says, great discussion today. We didn't get to anything we were going to talk about, but that's probably a good thing.
That's probably a good thing. People like stuff like that, you know? And then it made me think about all those bands that I was booking back out in the park and downtown.
I did not know this. Jimbo Slice, aka James Kirk,
I've got it.
comes in and says, "It's talking of the comet. It's ice and rock. It only actually burns if it gets too close to the sun, or as it gets closer to the sun." I did not know this.
Wow.
So is it getting relatively closer to the sun now? Is that what makes the tail? Is that it's burning? We're seeing the ice crystals coming off.
I think that's what
because-
causes the tail, yeah.
Well, there you have it.
Little history here too.
You know, folks,
I
A
like
little astronomy,
We've been lately.
not astrology.
science.
Let me do this real quick because then I want to have some fun with Brother G. Uncle Mutt's barbecue today. Great day to go to Uncle Mutt's. Get by and get some brisket ribs, sausage, chicken, turkey, or sausage if you want chicken and sausage.
Ask for the chorizo.
Yeah, say I want a sausage plate. It'll be a 2-meat plate with chicken and sausage. Cut the corner. Talked to Jonathan Arterberry yesterday. He said
Same
hello
time.
to everybody. He said thank you so much for keeping Uncle Mutt's at the top of your thoughts and in business. They appreciate you, and we appreciate you supporting them because that allows them to support us, which allows us to tell you about them.
Love them.
Reach out to Uncle Mutt's this weekend. Gray Barn Design. Cheryl will make your next event eventful. 920-6803.
She's sharp.
If you want to plan a party, a wedding, a Kinsey, I'll make you a deal. You plan your next Kinsey with Cheryl at 920-6803. I'll guarantee you a flyby by Brother Gary.
I'll come.
He'll come by. That's part of the Wade and Carter package.
That-
I want a Kinsey with the Wade and Carter package. Chances are Brother G's going to be there anyway. He's going to be there anyway.
I'm coming.
He's
We
like,
can guarantee it.
when you call Gary, it's funny. You call Gary, you book Gary for an event. You know, you have to call his people, and his people call you back. And when they call back, they say, "Well, what's the buffet? What's the food going to be? What's the food?" Now, Brother Gary's starting to say to people, "Did Cheryl design it?"
Yeah, I'm saying that, man.
Yeah.
I want to know.
920-6803. Went services, went plumbing, went electrical, went
Went
generators. Right now is the middle of generator season. You need one.
Edward formed in the Atlantic. It's not going to cause any damage. Just spin out into the Atlantic and go north. But
There you go.
we're already up to 4 named storms.
I heard.
Don't be afraid to reach out to Win. The quote isn't going to cost you anything.
No.
Give them a call. Whether you need Cummins, Kohler,
Briggs and Stratton,
Generac.
Generac.
Made in America. You can also have solar panels put on your home or at your home, maybe not on your home.
Generac, made in Generac, Wisconsin.
There you go. Right there next to Kohler, where all the toilets and stuff are made. Reach out to Wimp today.
Good stuff.
USA Concrete Coatings, 578
Charlie
Homes. Give
Garcia.
Charlie Garcia a call.
Came back.
You want to make any concrete service, whether it's your garage floor, whether it's your patio, and transform it into something that you actually want to spend some time in again,
There you go.
they'll do it.
USA Concrete Coatings.
Slip
578
resistant, easy to clean. So if you like to change your own oil, do your own work, they can give you a nice coating in your garage. You'll never have to worry about it again.
578 home.
So
We've been doing this bit here for the last couple of weeks. This COVID deal really cutting into our Thursday sports talk with Brother G. And we have
MLS returned last night. They played games in Orlando
Don't
yesterday.
help him. Don't help him. We have a running deal with Brother G that says, look, like on Monday, didn't we tell him Monday and said, look, Brother G, you better bring something to the house on Thursday. And just yesterday, he goes, fellas, I got a bag of nothing. I got a bag of nothing here. Less than nothing. But here, with no further ado, the great one himself, Brother G, tell us what's going on in Victoria. Tell us what's going on sports-wise.
Well, we got a couple of things here. First, I love the conversation, all the different songs and bands from the past, and it makes us all reminisce. People love that. I'm gonna tell you
It's
right now.
Flashback Thursday
People
with
Flashback
Brent
Thursday, they love
and
that.
Mr. Apocalypse.
Throwback Thursday.
Throwback Thursday.
You know, when you're talking to Ash about music, you're like, no, remember Def Leppard? Yeah, drummer lost his arm. You know, remember else?
That was you.
He died of an OD. I mean, Ash is like Mr. Apocalypse. He tells you what was wrong with every one of them. Yeah, right. Yeah.
That was it. Hey,
I wrote all those behind the musics.
right.
Well, y'all did great, boys.
In
Really enjoyed that.
78.
I really did. So, General's back this weekend, giving you something to do.
Tulsa Drillers tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday.
In tomorrow, First Responders Night, and then Saturday night, Strike Out Cancer.
Go for the beer, stay for the announcer.
And then they
Free ticket night every night.
free ticket night every night. They're gonna auction off the jerseys on Saturday night to fight cancer.
And then I think UHV has a free ticket night on Tuesday.
UHV does. Sunday night is Bark in the Park. I think you can see some dogs out there too.
I think
I'm not
folks
bringing
ought to
Stanley
go.
Cup.
But I'd love to see them.
Go and help support the Generals. Support the kids that are playing, and support Mike Yoko and the group that
Tracy Young, the owner.
Yeah, get
I
out
saw
there.
Trace. I
They're
got-
social distancing.
Yeah, they are. And we're-
Every second row. I mean, they're making it work.
Well, I mean, it's the only game in town right now.
Right.
Let's go.
Let's go. Go out there and enjoy the deck.
I want to mention that. Don't have market days too if you're looking for something. Latin Bowlers tournament. We have some folks saying they're going to have a reduced version of it, but everybody's
Lee Caballero's going to win that.
Lee Caballero's in charge of that.
He's gonna win.
So the reduced field is down to one bowler.
Yeah, he's already got the trophy in his house.
He's the only one bowling.
Yeah,
Lee's in charge.
yeah. Picked up a spare in the second frame and called it a tournament.
That's it. Game over.
Done.
He had to bowl at least 5, make
I
it
got
official.
19. I got 19 pins. Anybody beat that? I'm going to the house.
Game over.
Yeah.
You gotta get 5.
Hold the trophy up.
You gotta bowl 5 frames, 4.5 if you're the home team.
Right. Exactly.
That was it. Yeah, only 2 men's divisions and then 1 ladies. I think they're cutting it back a lot.
And don't forget our friends at the Victoria Farmers Market.
Farmers Market, right over there, still going on every week. They get good crowds too.
Meredith's still there?
She's still there. She's still
Saw her the last time we were there.
Yeah, she
Good for
worries
her.
about you boys, but I'll tell you all.
She worries about us.
She worries about you. Yeah, all right. No, she's doing good.
It's one we haven't put out of business. We helped it grow.
Right?
Yes, you did.
Rob Prather says Latina only. The Latin bowlers, it's not discrimination,
No, anybody can bowl on a team. They just
but they might shank you.
Callie Fromme asked if the beer garden at the Generals, the beer deck is open, but they are not allowing you to congregate. If you have a table on the beer deck, you can sit there. Otherwise, you have to take your beer and go to your seat.
What do? Do you run down from the booth and get a beer and run back up?
Between innings, it's fast.
Yeah. You can come. Yeah, they've got it all sectioned off. But anyway, they're doing it right. They're doing good.
I remember when all this hysteria first started, and I got the stink eye and got called down at HEB because I had gone down where the pet food is, and I'd come around this way
To the milk?
to the milk. Oh, sir, you're going the wrong way. Oh, I was just terrible. Oh, Rob Prather says, I'm looking for a Latina wife. That's why I asked. He wants to go shopping with the bowling tournament.
Well, there'll be all kind of. They have bowlers from every which walk of life.
Go on over there, Rob. Do a little shopping.
Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, well, buddies, we had a little baseball, a little football.
That's it. That's what he brought,
Love
Ash.
it. That's it.
Ash, are we letting him off the hook for that?
Well, we'll see what he brings.
Let's see. Atlanta Braves. They're going to keep their name. The Braves are keeping Atlanta Braves. It's going to keep that nickname.
Chicago Blackhawks said they were going to do the same thing with the Blackhawks.
I saw that deal the other day that we've got to get rid of the Vikings because they raped and pillaged. We got to get rid of the Pirates because they were criminals.
Yeah, we
We got to get rid of the Padres because we can't have no religious.
Cowboys sold cattle.
Cowboys stole
What's
cattle.
wrong with those guys, man?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Can't
listen,
steal a win.
They're going to discuss the tomahawk chop, but the Braves can keep their name. What's wrong with the tomahawk chop? Unbelievable. All right, boys. Most hated rivalry in the NFL. Which two teams in the black and blue division? What do you think?
Chiefs and Raiders. They used to really hate each other.
I'm going to say Packers Bears.
That's it. That's the most hated rivalry in the NFL. Black and blue.
It's the old Norris division.
All right. Give you a quick one. Cowboys, biggest rivalry now. Not used to be Washington Redskins. In their division, which team can't stand each other? Both of them can't stand
Well, they really used to hate the
Philadelphia.
Giants, but the Eagles are. Everybody
Yeah.
hates the Eagles. You know?
Eagles and Cowboys, biggest rivalry now in their division.
Remember, I told you the Giants are going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, they're saying they're better this year.
Saquon Barkley's just probably
You
top two.
can't be any better. You can't be any worse than what they won last year. 2 games, 1 game. I mean, they were terrible.
2, 3, maybe. I don't know. 2 or 3, right? When they were bad.
Oh,
The 49ers don't like the Cowboys too, but the worst team that the Cowboys dislike the most and hate each other, Cowboys in Philadelphia. All right, Dak Prescott, top 10 quarterbacks. Where does he rank?
Top 10 quarterbacks
Top
now.
10 right now, 2020.
Well,
They have
I mean,
some
that's a loaded question
Just
because
right
there's
now.
probably not 10 starting quarterbacks worth a darn in the NFL.
Well, where does he rank with all the quarterbacks at this time in 2020? And he makes the top 10.
I mean, if I had to have it for 1 year,
he makes the top 10.
I would still take
9.
Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, he's got to be 9 or 10.
8.
8.
He hit 8.
Can you read us that? Do you have that list?
Yeah, I had it, but I just wrote it out real quickly.
So who's number 1? Mahomes.
Mahomes.
So number
Mahomes.
2 is
Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
What's the boy from Baltimore? Lamar Jackson.
Okay, yeah, great athlete.
Russell Wilson. Deshaun Watson's in that top 4. Aaron Rodgers was up there really close to the top. They put Dak Prescott number 8.
Where's Drew Brees on that
He
list?
was in there. I like about 6 or 7. They put him.
Probably would have been top 5 until he had to backtrack his comments.
We'll get them, but I just gave it all things Cowboys right here.
Very interesting that certainly in our lifetimes, even in your lifetime, Ash, just the idea of a black quarterback was just stumbling out of the top 5.
Doug Williams, remember?
Every one of them.
Redskins, remember that?
Doug Williams had a cannon, and
He had a cannon.
but when you
I
go,
never thought anything of it because I watched Warren Moon play for the Edmonton
Warren
Eskimos.
Moon was great.
but when you go
Shook his hand and
Mahomes,
talked to him.
Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson.
How's Randall
the
Cunningham
Jackson
not
kid,
in the Hall of Fame?
Randall Cunningham, I thought he was good. Philadelphia.
Great athlete. Randall Cunningham was to football what like Darryl Strawberry was to baseball. Just kind of a long, lanky freak of an athlete. He was
Didn't have a
great-
drug problem.
No, he not well true. Yeah, I think he lives in Las Vegas. I don't know why I know that, but he still lives in Las Vegas. Randall Cunningham.
And Cowboys, where do they rank power rankings? Just for the month of July for 2020. They're in the top 10.
Yeah.
They think they'll make the playoffs, but they're in the top 10. You were right close to it a while ago, and they were about the same thing.
We had him as an 8-18. I
9-7 at
9-7.
because of CeeDee Lamb, I give him 9-7 on an exciting offense. I think they ended up going 10-6 with the new coach and losing in the first round of the playoffs.
probably so.
Okay, where do you think they rank? Power rating. Now, out of all teams, 32 teams, what do you think?
I mean,
Middle of the pack,
they ought to
maybe
be
a little
top
bit
10,
better.
but maybe-
I don't think they're
maybe
top
10.
10.
Yeah, 9.
Right, I can see them down there.
9.
All
Sure,
right.
Prescott was 8th quarterback. That was pushing it. And he wants 200 to 220 for his contract. He's still looking for 200 to 220,000 5-year contract.
A third of that guaranteed because you're certainly not going to give
Yeah.
him 100 guaranteed
No,
when Mahomes only got 140 guaranteed.
140 guarantee. If he gets hurt, Mahomes gets 140 no matter what happens.
Yeah, good for him.
503 million. He's worth it. I think
He's
that's what
worth
he's
it. I think he may play the next 10 years there and
He should.
just dominate.
He won't get all 503.
No,
No, but he's probably making twice that in endorsements. When he does
Yeah.
State Farm stuff already, he's on the second year.
Yeah, Tom Brady was way ahead of those other boys. I could have given it the list, but we mentioned
Yeah.
most of them. Well,
All right.
let's say we're going to have sports anyway. What do you think, boys? We're going to have a bunch of sports?
I hope so.
I hope so too.
Hockey needs to come back. They're playing in Toronto and Edmonton with 2 hub cities, 3 games a day in each city.
Why don't hockey set the pace for us, man? Come on.
Touch the hair.
When are they coming back?
When are they coming back?
Not soon enough, according to Cheryl.
I think you need to tighten that up. Man,
God bless y'all.
We love you, Brother
Thank y'all
Gene.
very
Thanks for
much.
coming in, folks. That's Brother Gary Moses. You see him around town, but we get to see him here most
Every
mornings
day.
and every Thursday because he is the man and he really is as good a friend of ours as we purport
You
here.
bet you better know I am.